At a nightclub, the place is packed with men from a company party. One of them is a guy named George. He and his friends notice a young woman named Cassie, who looks completely drunk. At first, they seem concerned about her, worried that some creep might take advantage of her. Feeling sorry for her, George steps in to help. Cassie is clearly in bad shape, and he even helps her look for her phone. She seems disoriented, and George figures it would be better for her to go home before someone with bad intentions gets to her first. But since Cassie has lost her phone, they cannot call a ride for her. George offers to help and says he can take her home himself. They get into a cab, but during the ride, George starts getting other ideas. He mentions that his apartment is nearby. Cassie does not respond, but George takes her there anyway. Once inside, Cassie is already extremely drunk, yet George gives her even more to drink. Then he starts flirting and takes advantage of the situation. Cassie is too intoxicated to fully understand what is happening. George lays her down on the bed, but he does not stop there. His hands begin roaming all over her body. Cassie weakly tells him to stop, but George ignores her, convinced that she is too drunk to fight back. Then everything changes. Cassie suddenly reveals that she was never drunk at all. She was only pretending. The moment George realizes she is fully aware of everything, he knows he is in serious trouble. This is a promising young woman. The next morning, Cassie walks home alone from George's apartment. Along the way, a few men harass her and throw catcalls in her direction. But instead of reacting, she simply stares at them in silence. That alone is enough to make them uncomfortable, and they quickly back off. When she gets home, it becomes clear that George is not the first man she has trapped like this. Cassie keeps a small notebook, and inside it is a list of men just like him. This is something she has done many times before. Cassie still lives with her parents and is their only child. Her relationship with them is strained because of something in her past. Even though she looked like an office worker the night before, the truth is that she actually works at a coffee shop. One of her co-workers mentions that a friend saw her at a bar acting embarrassingly drunk, but Cassie denies it. That tells us her secret habit of hunting down predatory men is something only she knows about. A few days later, Cassie is at work like usual when a customer named Dr. Ryan shows up. Ryan recognizes her right away because they used to be classmates in medical school. At some point, Cassie dropped out and never became a doctor. It also seems that Ryan has liked her since their college days, so he asks her out. Cassie turns him down. That night, she watches heavy makeup tutorials and deliberately makes herself look messy and more vulnerable. The reason Cassie rejects Ryan is because she is still committed to her mission. Her method is always the same. She pretends to be drunk at bars so that men with bad intentions will take her home. But Cassie is not a killer, and she does not physically hurt them. What she wants is to scare them, to make sure they never go after helpless women again. In her eyes, taking advantage of a drunk woman is no different from assault. Legally, she could report these men and press charges, but that is not what she chooses to do. She wants them to feel fear, the same way their victims do, and she wants that fear to stay with them.
I'm a nice guy.
You keep saying that. A nice guy like you comes over to see if I'm okay.
The next morning, Cassie is confused when she finds a gift waiting for her. She does not even remember that it is her birthday. Her mother is frustrated, feeling that Cassie's life has no direction, especially now that she is already 30. Cassie has no boyfriend, no close friends, and every weekend she disappears into the night without anyone knowing what she is doing. Still, this is not coming from anger, but concern. Her mother worries about her. When Cassie opens the gift, she finds a suitcase inside. It feels less like a present and more like a message. A quiet push for her to move out and start her own life. At work, Cassie talks about it with her coworker. She admits that she could easily find a better job, move into her own place, or even start a relationship. But none of that is what she truly wants, so she does nothing. Not long after, Ryan shows up again. The last time he visited, he had asked for Cassie's number, but she gave him a fake one. Now he returns, hoping for another chance. Cassie makes it clear that she is not looking for a relationship. Ryan does not push her. Instead, he suggests that they could at least be friends. He admits that he has liked her since their college days and asks if she would be willing to have lunch together over the weekend. A few days later, Cassie agrees and they meet for lunch. Ryan may come off a bit awkward, but he turns out to be genuinely kind and enjoyable to be around. He remembers how smart Cassie was back in medical school and asks if she has ever thought about going back. Cassie brushes it off, saying she has other things she wants to focus on. Ryan seems disappointed, convinced she could have been a great doctor. They spend the whole day together, and despite her initial hesitation, Cassie finds herself enjoying his company. As the night goes on, they end up near Ryan's apartment. He casually suggests that she could come up for a drink. At first, Cassie considers it, but Ryan quickly makes it clear that he does not want her to feel pressured in any way. Cassie ultimately decides to leave. On her way home, frustration builds inside her. She lashes out, kicking a trash can, convinced that Ryan is just like every other man, someone who would take advantage if given the chance. The next day, Cassie goes to Ryan's workplace. She wants to apologize for how things ended the night before, knowing it left things awkward between them. This time, she expresses that she would rather take things slowly. After that, her mood noticeably improves. Even her coworker starts to see the change. Ryan asks if she still keeps in touch with any of their old classmates, but Cassie says she does not. Unlike her, Ryan has stayed connected with many of them. He mentions that one of their former friends, Madison, has recently had twins. He assumes Cassie would be close to her, but she quickly denies it. Then he brings up another name, Al Monroe, who is about to get married. This time, Cassie reacts differently. She becomes interested, asking about him. As far as she knew, Al had moved to London, but Ryan explains that he has returned to the United States for his wedding. They were never especially close, but they still moved in the same social circle. Later that night, even though Cassie's life had started to feel a little lighter, hearing Al's name brings everything crashing back down. Something shifts in her again. She looks him up online and finds his wedding announcement, surrounded by congratulatory messages, including one from Madison. One day, Cassie waits at a hotel restaurant for lunch. In front of her are 2 drinks, one with alcohol and one without. It turns out she is meeting Madison, an old friend from college. They used to be close, and after so many years, they finally reconnect. Cassie acts warm and friendly, making the reunion feel comfortable. But behind that, she deliberately encourages Madison to drink more and more until she becomes intoxicated. Everything feels light and normal at first, until the conversation shifts to why Cassie dropped out of medical school. Cassie pushes Madison, asking if she remembers the real reason. Madison can only recall bits and pieces. Then it comes back to Nina, their other close friend. Something terrible happened to Nina back in college. She had trusted Madison enough to share it, but instead of supporting her, Madison talked behind her back. The truth is, Nina was taken advantage of by Al while she was drunk, and it happened in front of other people. When Nina tried to speak up, no one believed her. Al claimed it was consensual, and people were quick to judge Nina because of her lifestyle. As the memory surfaces, Madison grows uneasy and wants to leave. But by then, she is too drunk to even walk properly. That is when Cassie approaches a man, hands him a hotel key along with some money, and asks him to take Madison upstairs. Her intention is clear. She wants Madison to experience the same fear Nina once felt. The next day, Cassie ignores a flood of calls from Madison. The voice messages are filled with panic and fear. This is not random. This is Cassie's way of getting revenge for what happened to Nina. But Madison is not the only person on her list. At another time, Cassie goes to a university campus and stops a young student, asking for directions. At first, the girl hesitates to help. But when Cassie claims she works with a famous boy band, the girl quickly becomes interested. Not only does she offer to help, she even wants to come along in hopes of meeting her favorite group. Cassie pretends to resist at first, saying she does not want anyone else to know. The girl insists, even handing over her phone as a sign of trust. Everything about this situation is carefully planned. Cassie is once again setting up another test, just to see how easily someone can be drawn into danger. After asking the young girl to wait at a restaurant, Cassie heads off to meet the dean of her former university, a woman named Walker. She approaches her under the pretense of wanting to return to medical school. As the conversation unfolds, Cassie brings up the real reason she left, what happened to Nina. At first, Walker does not remember anything, so Cassie mentions Al's name. That finally triggers something. Walker recalls him, especially since he recently returned to give a lecture. There had once been an accusation involving him and Nina, but Walker claims she cannot remember the details. Cassie then walks her through it. She reminds Walker that Al took Nina from a party to his room, where Nina was taken advantage of while others watched. Nina was too intoxicated to resist. The next day, her body was covered in bruises. She reported everything, but Walker dismissed it, saying there was not enough evidence. Walker insists she handled the situation properly at the time. But to Cassie, the truth is simple. The wrong person was blamed. Instead of holding Al accountable, Walker placed the responsibility on Nina. When Walker asks what happened to Nina, Cassie reveals that Nina never recovered. What Walker does not realize is that she is no longer in control of this conversation. Cassie reveals that the young girl she brought earlier is actually Walker's daughter. A few hours ago, Cassie left her with a group of men and gave them access to alcohol. At first, Walker does not believe it. She tries to call her daughter, only to remember that the phone is already in Cassie's hands. Panic sets in. She demands to know where her daughter is. Cassie watches her calmly as the fear sinks in. Eventually, Walker breaks. She admits that she remembers Nina and that what happened was not Nina's fault. But for Cassie, that realization comes too late. It only proves her point. People only care when it happens to someone they love. In the end, Cassie reveals the truth. She never actually put Walker's daughter in danger. The girl is safe, still waiting at the restaurant, believing she is about to meet her favorite boy band.
Dean Walker, do you really think I would do something like that? Luckily, I don't have as much faith in boys as you do. It's the Castle Diner if you want to call and check.
The entire situation was staged to make Walker feel what Nina once felt. That night, Cassie returns home and realizes she was supposed to watch a movie with Ryan. She completely forgot, consumed by her need for revenge. Exhausted, she cancels on him. Ryan is clearly disappointed, but he does not push her. Later that same night, Cassie heads to a bar again, continuing her usual routine. She finds a new target, but as she leaves, she unexpectedly runs into Ryan. This time, Ryan's disappointment turns into something else. From his perspective, Cassie lied to him just to go out drinking and leave with another man. His view of her changes, and he starts to see her in a much worse light. Cassie tries to explain, but Ryan refuses to listen. Meanwhile, the man she targeted realizes something is off. Cassie is not actually drunk. By now, her pattern has spread, and stories about her have started circulating. The next day, Cassie goes to meet a man named Jordan. He used to be a lawyer, but he no longer practices. Before finding him, Cassie had visited his old office, where she was given his home address. She immediately brings up Nina's case from 7 years ago. Back then, when Al was accused, Jordan was the one who defended him. Cassie explains that Nina was not only a victim, but she was also beaten and threatened into dropping her case. This time, Jordan remembers everything. He admits that Nina's case is one of the biggest regrets of his life and the reason he walked away from his career. The guilt has stayed with him, keeping him awake at night. In a way, he feels relieved that Cassie has come to confront him, as if he deserves whatever punishment she has planned. But seeing how deeply he regrets his actions changes something in Cassie. For the first time, her revenge does not feel necessary. Instead of punishing him, she chooses to forgive him. It is an unexpected outcome, especially since she had even prepared someone to hurt him.
Do I go in now?
No.
A plan she now abandons completely. After this, Cassie begins to question everything she has been doing. Unsure of what to do next, she decides to visit Nina's mother. It turns out that Cassie and Nina were close friends since childhood, which is why she is also close to Nina's family. All this time, Nina has only been a name in the story, never seen. The truth is far more tragic. After what happened to her, and after being pressured to stay silent, Nina was overwhelmed by fear and shame. In the end, she could not bear it anymore. Her death devastated Cassie. It was the reason she left medical school and the reason she has been unable to move on. Nina's mother understands this and gently encourages Cassie to let go and continue living her life. But for Cassie, it is not that simple. Along with grief, she carries guilt. She keeps thinking about that night, wishing she had been there for Nina, wishing she could have protected her. Still, something begins to shift. Cassie decides to delete her social media, cutting herself off from the past. She also throws away the notebook where she kept track of the men she confronted. It feels like she is finally ready to stop. From there, she focuses on fixing her relationship with Ryan. She never truly explained herself, and she knows she cannot share the full truth, but she promises that it will not happen again. She also admits that she cares about him. Ryan is hesitant. He cannot forgive her that easily, and he questions whether she is really okay. Even so, Cassie keeps moving forward, trying to become a better version of herself. Then one day, Ryan comes to see her at the cafe. After thinking things through, he decides to forgive her and give their relationship another chance. In the days that follow, Cassie starts to feel genuinely happy. For the first time, it seems like she might finally be able to move on from Nina's death. One evening, she even invites Ryan to have dinner with her family. It is a big step, a sign that their relationship is becoming serious. For a moment, everything in Cassie's life finally feels right. Everything seems to be going well, until one day Madison suddenly comes to see Cassie. She looks panicked, clearly shaken, and says she needs to talk. Cassie explains what really happened during their last meeting. She admits that she deliberately got Madison drunk and arranged for a man to be in the room when Madison woke up. But she also makes it clear that nothing actually happened. The man did not touch her at all. Hearing this, Madison feels a huge sense of relief. But that is not why she came. Madison says that waking up next to a stranger forced her to finally understand what Nina must have gone through. And because of that, she remembered something important. Back then, Nina's case was dismissed because there was not enough evidence, and Al had a powerful lawyer on his side. But the truth is, there was evidence all along. Madison reveals that someone recorded what happened that night. Being part of Al's social circle, she had access to it.
About what you said about Nina. And I remembered something.
What?
There was a tape.
What?
She hands Cassie an old phone that contains the video. Cassie's emotions are all over the place. She had just started to move on from Nina's death, but now she is being pulled right back into it. Still, she knows she has to see the truth for herself. When she finally watches the recording, it confirms everything. Al is clearly taking advantage of Nina while others laugh and watch. There is no doubt anymore. Just seeing it is enough to break Cassie all over again. She had tried to bury her desire for revenge, but now she realizes she cannot live peacefully until justice is done for Nina. The first person she goes to is Ryan. Ryan had always been part of the same circle as Al. Cassie shows him the recording, even though he refuses to watch it at first, but there is a reason she brought it to him. In the video, his voice can be heard. That means Ryan knew exactly what happened that night. He stayed silent, and worse, he lied to Cassie all this time. Ryan tries to excuse himself, saying he was young and did not think clearly back then. But Cassie does not accept it. Now she is the one in control. She makes it clear that she can expose the video to everyone Ryan knows, destroying his life completely. The only way to stop that is for him to tell her where Al's bachelor party is being held. Cassie does not explain what she plans to do. She only says that she has thought about this for a long time. Ryan is terrified, and in the end, he gives her the location. Even though he apologizes, it no longer matters. In Cassie's eyes, Ryan is no different from Al. A few days later, on the night of Al's bachelor party, Cassie arrives disguised as a stripper. Even though no one actually invited her, she is welcomed without question. Al assumes one of his friends arranged it. Since she is the only performer there, she naturally takes control of the room. She starts by getting everyone involved, then hands out drinks to all of them. One by one, the men become unconscious, completely unaware of what is about to happen next. After that, Cassie leads Al upstairs for a private session. Once they are alone, she handcuffs him, claiming it is for her own safety. Al is confused but goes along with it at first. When he asks her name, she gives one that immediately unsettles him. She calls herself Nina. That name hits him instantly. He knows Nina is dead, so he assumes this must be some kind of joke. But the situation quickly turns serious. Al begins to panic and demands to be released, but Cassie refuses. Downstairs, everyone is already out cold from the drinks she prepared.
Guys? Hey, Joe, Brandon, Chip, hey, guys, can you get up here, please?
I don't think they can hear you.
No one is coming to help him. At this point, Al realizes who she really is. She is Nina's closest friend. He assumes she is there to blackmail him, but that is not her goal. What Cassie wants is much simpler. She wants him to face what he did. When she reveals that she has the recording, Al understands that there is no way to deny it anymore. He is willing to say or do anything to get out of the situation. But for Cassie, this is not about negotiation. In her eyes, it is deeply unfair. Nina suffered and lost everything, while Al continued living his life without consequences. Cassie does not plan to kill him. What she wants is to leave a permanent reminder, something that will force him to remember Nina for the rest of his life.
Al, you should be the one with her name all over you.
She moves to carry out her plan, but in a sudden moment, Al manages to free one of his hands. The situation turns instantly. Cassie tries to fight back, but Al overpowers her. In the struggle, he suffocates her until she stops moving.
Stop! Stop! Stop!
Just like that, Cassie is gone. The next day, one of Al's friends comes to see him. At first, he thinks Al is joking, but when he realizes the truth, panic sets in. Only the two of them know what really happened. Al considers going to the police, but his friend convinces him not to, insisting it was an accident. Instead, they decide to get rid of the body. They take Cassie to the woods and burn her remains, trying to erase all evidence. Days pass, and Cassie's parents grow worried as she never comes home. No one knows where she went except Ryan, who had been told earlier. When the police question him, he claims that he and Cassie had recently broken up and that he has not seen her since. Given Cassie's past and her unstable behavior, the detective assumes she simply left on her own. Then comes the day of Al's wedding. Everything goes smoothly and the ceremony continues without any problems. But after the reception, Ryan receives a scheduled message from Cassie's phone. It was sent ahead of time, just in case she did not make it back alive. At the same time, Jordan, the former lawyer, had already received Madison's old phone containing the video. Cassie had made it clear that if anything happened to her, he needed to take it to the police. Soon after, the authorities investigate the location of the bachelor party. What they find leads them straight to the truth. On the day of his wedding, Al is arrested for Cassie's murder. In the end, Cassie knew she could never bring him to justice for what he did to Nina years ago. But if he killed her, that would be enough to finally put him behind bars. Nina's justice is served, even though it cost Cassie her life. And with that, the story comes to an end. So the moral of the story is if you see a drunk girl at a bar, just go home and mind your business, because you might accidentally sign up for a lifetime trauma subscription with bonus police ending.